Hey everybody, this is one of the first changes I'm going to make to the van. On our last trip, which is our first kind of longer trip we took, we were out for a couple of weeks. We dealt with a lot of temperatures in the very high 90s to low hundreds. So like when we were in Boise, it was 106. That's fine when you're driving because you can keep the van pretty cool. But once you're parked, the temperature comes up quite a bit, and we found that our fridge wasn't cooling as much as we wanted it to. The refrigerator was staying in an appropriate range, but the freezer, the temperature was climbing up to 22, 24, 25 degrees. So I'll show you. The box is completely sealed. It does have air that can come in through the back, but really there's no ventilation to it. So I've taken the fridge out, but I'm going to install a large vent on this panel right about here, a hole behind this big cabinet in this area that will take a piece of 3-inch ducting, and I'm going to add an inline 12-volt fan that I can toggle on and off from our panel of rocker switches. And then in this box, I'm going to drill probably 4 or 5 holes in this panel and also in this panel, and that'll allow air to flow through. So the first step here, the fridge is out. I'm going to pull the box and take it into my garage. And my plan is to probably put a single hole in this area, a hole here and a hole here, and maybe one centered on here. And those will be 2 3/8 diameter, and I'll match that on the other side. And then if I need more holes, I'll go with a smaller diameter bit. I don't want to take too much material out of that side panel or that gusset. I have the 10x6 return air grill that I'm going to use for airflow in from behind the driver's seat. And I have about 8 feet, because it stretches, 8 feet of semi-rigid flexible ducting, my clamps, and then I'll throw in a picture of the fan. I have a 12-volt fan that's coming that'll be an inline. So I'll add enough of this to get where I need to go, mount the fan, turn it on, and then discharge the heat through the other end. So that's it. I'm going to get ready to start drilling holes. Okay, I've added ventilation holes on both ends of the box now. You see through, just keeping all my tools in there, stuff lying in there. So Swiss cheese a little bit, but I left a lot of material. I wanted to do the minimum amount to see how it worked. My next step will be to take this grate. I'm going to trace the inside just through the crack here so that I only cut the size I need, and then I'm going to use the piece of cardboard as my template. The next step will be to cut this panel. Measure from the inside. I'm going to orient it in the, I guess we would call that, if this was photography, we would call that portrait position. And I'm going to get a square in here first to make a couple lines. But what I'll do is mount it, mark the corners, come back and drill them with a pilot hole, and then run a jigsaw through it to cut out that square. And then the grate will screw right onto it. Future. me in the ice. You won't take me under blood red skies. Nice crooked. Wow. Okay, the end vent is installed, so that's going to allow a huge amount of airflow into the box now. And then I'm thinking what I'm going to end up doing is coming up about this high and mounting that vent fan behind the drawer, and then if I run it low, if I mount the vent fan down low in the next drawer but run the hose up here, then I'll cause a draft and pull that air back to the garage area. So let me pull this drawer out. My plan is to run power from this last available toggle switch. I'll run it through the wall, down across the bottom of the garage area, and then bring it over under this cabinet, under this guy. And I'll mount that fan back here and then just ground it somewhere. I have a bolt back there I can ground it to. And that should get us power, and that should get us power to the unit and have it on a toggle switch. That's it. I'm just watching somebody drive around out here. Okay, a tip to help you maintain sanity. If you're gonna put in a 5 rocker panel, if you're gonna install a 5 rocker panel, when you're building and you only have 4 items to attach to it, run another 12 gauge pair of wires. Because now, because I wanted to add this fan, I've basically had to fish a hanger through the back of the wires, through the back of the wall. And in order to do that, I had to disassemble the window frame and then run it up the wall. And now I'm gonna pull this and hope to goodness that the wire comes through. Oh, baby. Oh my gosh. I could have saved myself a lot of trouble. So don't be like me. Don't be a fool. So this blower, 3-inch blower, just arrived. It's 12 volts, so I'm gonna unbox it in the back and put power to it just to make sure that it works, to bench test it before I go to the trouble of installing it. And what I'm gonna do is basically put power to it here and then ground it. Come on, baby. And see if it turns on, see if it actually works, because that's kind of the key. Oh baby. Well, that's not quiet though. It's definitely not quiet. The question now becomes, what level of sound can I tolerate in the back of that cabinet? Did a quick install. Quick install for this fan, which is advertised as being extremely quiet, so that we could have it run and draw air through the fridge cabinet and exhaust it out the back. And so here's the test. It's wired. I just have 12-volt power to it, but this is the rocker switch I want to use to power it. So this is the quiet fan. In the evening, we'll settle down, maybe to watch a movie or read a book, listen to a creek outside, and if the fridge is a little hot, I can get away from me. If the fridge is a little hot, I can just flip the switch, and this will be the quiet hum we hear. I don't think so. So this is going back. It is really quiet when it's not running, though. I give them props for that. So next. System. So right now it's this last switch, the one with the snowflake on it. And hooked to some rigid ducting that goes through into the garage space, and that's where the fan's attached. And when it draws air through, it pulls it through this grate, which uses all the holes that I drilled in the side of the box in order to pull cooler air through. So I turn it on. Now you hear that fan start up. And that's pulling air through. If you, I'll use some tissue. You can immediately see how much air it's moving. And using that fan now, we've noticed a significant decrease in temperature in the fridge. It's freezer staying nice and cool. The fridge itself is staying good and cold as it always has. So we think that's helped tremendously, and hope this helps out anybody who's facing the same problem. Your fridge needs a lot of ventilation, and that'll keep it going. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next video.